Hi guys, welcome to the channel and welcome to another video. Now in this one we're going to be taking a look at the AMT 63 Galaxy. Now this has got to be one of my all-time favourite kits, and for reasons we'll probably go into throughout this video, but it's not going to be an unboxing, it's just a bit of a talk about the kit, and then we'll have a look at some old built kits from my earlier years. I think they're all from my late teens, and some of them been restored and then restored again to the point where I've just had to leave them alone. But like we spoke about in the last video with the AMT 62 Bel Air, in my opinion, that was the mark of a sort of a new era for AMT. That I was saying that, you know, the annual thing had pretty much run its course, and they were starting to realise that Corvettes and Mustangs weren't of much interest to anybody anymore. But I think that all started, you know, that was the start of the new tool kits, I think, in the early 90s. But I think this kit really holds a very similar kind of value, because the annual thing was dying in the late 80s, mid to late 80s. In fact, I think it was dead after 77, 78. I think after them two annual years, there was pretty much nothing of interest coming. We had a few Monte Carlos and bits and pieces like that carried on into the early 80s. Then we got into the boring Berettas and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I think that this was the kind of era, and kits like this, especially this one, this is the Prestige issue 63 Galaxy. I think it came out in 87. But with the Prestige series, you saw a couple of kits which had not been repops throughout the years. You know, like I said, we got used to seeing things like 33 Willys, 40 Coupes, the 50 Ford convertibles, all that kind of stuff consistently pumps out over the previous years. But you know, this was the first year we saw the 63 Galaxy return after its annual release in 1963. So you could tell that by the late 80s, AMT had sort of realised they're going to have to start looking into the back catalogue and start seeing what tooling was, you know, usable still, and you know what would be popular in the sort of late 80s, and try and get a bit more interest into the company. And that again, this is just my opinion. But the Prestige series saw a couple like that. I think the 63 Impala, I don't think that had been reissued since the 60s, and the 65 Lincoln Continental, I think that had only been released as in the Bearded Paradise series. I could be wrong, but you know, I think it was done a couple of times in the 60s, and then we didn't see it again until the Prestige series came out. But so yeah, I mean, I think around this era you could start seeing more and more kits, the older kits coming out, which we haven't seen for a long time, and going through all up to date, where you know now you see what Round 2 is doing, and they're doing an absolutely fantastic job of releasing kits we haven't seen since the 60s. And it's, you know, the hobby for what, and especially what Round 2 are doing, I think is invaluable. But this kit really is, out of all the issues since, I mean, of this issue, the Prestige series will always be my favourite, mainly because I remember as soon as this kit came out, my dad bought it and he built it pretty much straight away. I thought it was a lovely box art on this thing, and I was 7 years old when this kit came out, and you know, I absolutely fell in love with the car. Thought it was, and it was one of the first kits where you saw a ton of the 3-in-1 options in it. From the early years, the ones that stand out is this one, and the customising Series 50 Ford convertible, which me dad had as well. I just remember being in awe with all the optional parts you got in these kits, and it was my favourite era of box art. I mean, all the kits from this era, I always loved the side box art. I always, when you saw the tops of boxes in magazines, I really wanted to see the side box art because they always did a great job of sort of adding a bit of inspiration into these builds they did for the box arts and what have you. And you know, like I say, I do think this is a pretty important kit to us as well. Like, but it was certainly marking the point where they were starting to pull out these old molds and tools and what have you to see what we could get. But you know, that's why it's always stuck. My dad, like I said, my dad built one. My dad built one in the late 80s. Like I say, I think it was pretty much as soon as he got this kit. And I've actually got that kit now. It's on loan from my dad. Asked to borrow it a couple of months ago for something else. But this is the one he built in '87. In fact, he built it unpainted at first. I always remember this thing being in white plastic, and he just painted the interior details and everything else with it. And I think a couple of years later, or maybe later that year, I can't remember how soon he redid it. He brush painted it blue and with a cream roof and what have you. But yeah, this is the style of my dad's build. You know, he always used. He was great with brush painting things, and like he did the flames on the parcel shelf on this one, and you know, on the top of the dashboard and what have you. And I think he did it in, you know, on the top of the fender walls. He hand painted all the flames on there. You know, everything's done by hand and what have you. But and I think underneath as well, he continued it underneath. So, but like I say, this one always started in as he built it without any paint at first, and it was just adding his detail paint and what have you. But you know, that was a really inspirational kit to me, and I always loved this kit. You know, when my dad built it, you know, even when it was in white plastic, I loved it. And in fact, I might have preferred it a little bit in its white plastic. But you know, this kit has always been one of my favourites. Been one of my favourites of my dad's builds, like, and he was a very good model car builder, my dad. And he did it. I was talking to my brother the other day, and we're talking about how he used to black polish all the plastics, and he used to brush enamel, flat enamel into the panel gaps, and then polish it off. So sort of early style of black washing, what people do nowadays with Tamiya stuff. But yeah, I thought this was such a great build, and you know, I did want to show it on this video, like, so I've just held off giving it back to my dad just for now, like. And but he's got a shelter, he's got a display cases full of these in his garage, like, from back in the day. So I think maybe one day we'll have a bit of a look at a few more of them, like. But I thought I'd show that one, and like I say, that's why this kit has always been one of my favourites, and I've always loved the 63 Galaxy from then, like. But yeah, I mean, in later years, yeah, the thing with this kit over here, it's like I've spoken about before, is, you know, once you saw a kit in the shops, the days without internet, you know, as soon as they were gone out the shops that year, they were gone for good, like, you know. And it would really hard to get hold of old kits like this. But in the early 90s, I think it was like 91 or something, so I would have been about 11 years old, 10, 11 years old. These started popping up everywhere in discount shops for like £3 each, £3 to £5 each. They were scattered, and my dad used to find them everywhere. He used to drive for his job and stop off in little seaside towns, and little seaside town shops would have kits of this era, especially the Prestige series, like. So, you know, we started getting some of them in, and I think, you know, I must have bought 6, 7, 8 of these kits out of my pocket money. And I did have a couple in my early years, and I did build a couple, which we'll go into now. I think the first couple will show. And these are being restored. I built these. I probably started building. I built this one the first time for probably around 12 or 13. It was when a chap called Richard Coney was doing Small Talk, which I've spoken about before. It was the first models I used Halford's auto paint on, because he was painting a 49 Mercury and that, and got me into doing painting cars in Halford's aerosols. And to be honest, I've not gone back since. It's absolutely great paint, and for us in the UK, it's a great sort of easy go-to paint for us to use. But yeah, this was the first time I used that paint, and I went out and bought the same colour Ford Jupiter Red to paint these in, and used the Halford's primer. Now, one of them, the second car, because I got a few snaps, they're really terrible quality, but I think that's how I built that one first. And the second car we'll look at in a second, I originally sat that on a AMT 70 Impala chassis, and I just built them as a pair, and like I say, it's pointless looking at them, they're just terrible. And that's an old 66 Nova I built it on a Ferrari chassis, but we won't go into that one now. But yeah, so since I originally built them, I stripped them down a couple of times, and this is how one of them ended up. And they're not great, to be quite honest with you. Like I say, the foil work when I was that age, wasn't great. I think I probably did I did a quick restoration in my late teens, I would have thought. I think, but I kind of wanted to paint it white. I remember my dad building that other one originally in the white plastics. Repainted it all white. Used the custom grill on it with. I think I originally just built it with the one headlamp. Then I did the second one to make quad headlamps on it, but they did. I mean, that was just using all the parts from the original kit, front balance, the sort of intermediate mild rear custom valance. Just put some bullet tail lights in there and a couple of spotlights in the back. Don't know why I did that, but must have just had them and thought they looked all right at the time. And I just used the custom hood and what have you, but I mean, I ain't gonna bother taking that off. But I think I used the wheels from the Prestige, or the custom wheels from the 65 Bonneville, which was always also in that Prestige series, and again, another one of my favourite kits, that one. But yeah, I didn't think that one turned out bad, but I could really argue that I'd want to redo these at some point, but like I say, it's been reissued so many times now, and the reason I used to restore and then restore me, like I say, this is probably the third time I've done it before I just gave up on it. But back then, I'd probably sold, I was doing trades on them Prestige kits, and I got rid of a lot of them by me mid-teens, so. And then they became hard to find again, so you just used to restore, and once you got bored with how you finished the kit, you just carry on and restore it again, to the point where you just have to leave them alone. And I think by my late teens, I was really not losing interest in the hobby, but finding my time very, very limited. My interests were going elsewhere. By my early mid-20s, I was more interested in cars, real cars and stuff, and by my mid to late 20s, I was right into BMW, so all my money was going on those, to be quite honest. But yeah, I mean, that was the first one, and That one which I originally built on the, we'll put all these back in picture later, like, but the one I originally built on that 70 Impala chassis ended up like this in later years. I think the Impala chassis got mated back up with the original kit I stole it out of, which left this one without a chassis. I think this was a Joanne 68 Plymouth police car chassis. I just threw under this in the end, just to get it built, like. But yeah, just built it as a bit of a drag car. I mean, that's why I don't build drag cars, because people spit at it, because obviously Don Nicholson never had a car in this colour, and they certainly want the old Pro, the old Pro decals from them, decals from the 72 Nova kit. But it was just I just wanted something to do, like, and I thought it'd look good as a bit of a late 60s sort of drag car, so a bit of a fantasy build, so to speak. And I can't remember really what I did for. Yeah, I think I just built a nasty frame to go around the engine. I think that's the stock fender wells in there and everything. We just built a frame with it and put some old velocity stacks. I think they may be from 70 Impala as well. That 70 Impala, again, is one of my all-time favourite kits, and yet one I built a couple, and they've just ended up really in broken states, and I don't think I have any of those kits left, to be quite honest. I've got one which I painted in my late teens, and it's still in box, but never finished that. But yes, I mean, they're such a versatile kit, these. I think you can do so much with these, and if I was ever lucky enough to do picking at USACC, this is a strong possibility for that one. Like, I mean, not that that'll ever happen, but it's like I say, it's certainly one of my favourite kits, and I'd have to think of something quite a bit different to sort of get my decision away from that one, but I don't think we'll ever have to worry about that. And then as I was building that one, I built another one. I think this was one which I restored from a really old nasty Beta. I can't remember how this one came apart. I mean, it might have been done from a new kit. I mean, when the Buyer's Choice issue came out in the original sort of style boxing in the mid-90s, I think I bought a couple of them, so it could have been built from them. I just can't remember, but never blackwashed the grill or anything. I could really do with doing that. I mean, I'm not restoring it. The foil work in great, to be quite fair, but they just, I mean, no matter which way you build them, I mean, we've got a stock, a custom, and a drag car, and I always had a trailer to sort of pair these up with. Like, never fitted a tow bar to that thing. So when I did have display cabinets, I would just sit them behind each other, so to speak, like so. Like, but just to build a bit of a drag team, like. But I think and I've started so many of them. I mean, I think the only other one which I built and was this thing, and the minute I finished it, I wasn't happy with it. I rushed it at the end, like, and there were so many things which I wasn't happy with during the build that I just threw it together in the end, and then I ended up stripping it apart for one of the channel projects. What we've done, and we'll have a quick look at that. But I used the styling parts on that, painted it in a Citroen Picasso colour. So you used to see loads of Citroens in this colour back in the 90s, and always really liked that colour. I thought, for back then when there was a lot of boring colours about, it's quite an interesting colour on such an uninteresting sort of model of vehicle, so to speak. But yeah, I used the extended rear end on this, and like I say, it's just a broken pile of junk, you know. I think I was stripping it for a few parts for one we did on the channel, which, like I say, we'll have a quick look at, even though it shouldn't really be in this video, or only half of it should be in this video. But yeah, I got like projects like this, which, and I don't call them unfinished projects because they never really got started, to be quite fair. I remember painting this one in when I was working for Volkswagen. I started an apprenticeship when I was 15. I started working on Saturdays when I was 15, and then I started my apprenticeship when I was late 15, sort of 16 years old, as a painter. So I think I built this in my second year. So I was doing full repaints within 6 to 8 months of working there, like. So yeah, they wanted you earning money, like. So, but yeah, I think I paid this, and you can't really tell, but this is like an orange, which I mixed just off the sort of out of all the tints, you know. It wasn't any specific colour. I just mixed some colour until I was happy with something, and it is like a sort of an orangey metallic colour. You can't really see in that big rock of crap in the trunk lid there, like, which I even got round to polishing out. Painted interior in white, but this would have been Glazerite paint. I was painting excuse me, I was painting in Glazerite water base straight away from mid-90s, and I think it took a lot of people a long time to catch on to water base, but you know, that's how I started back in days. So yeah, I mean, I got stuff like that and what have you, but yeah, like I said, this one ended up getting stripped down, and it, like I say, this shouldn't really be on this video, but this is the closest I got to building a 63 Galaxy in my later years, and you know, is what a channel build like. We're just recreating the original generic 63 box art, which was no wrong way to do it, like. But and really the main portion of this kit is 65 Lincoln, but yeah, we used the roof of the 63 Galaxy and the hood from the 63 Galaxy, so there is a bit there, but yeah, the majority of this is the lion's share of a 65 Lincoln Continental with shortened front fenders and extended rear fenders. Rear arches were moved about. There was so much cutting and chopping to make this kit, like, and but I thought I'd just show that in this video. Like, I've got to start cleaning this up a little bit. I'm going to take this to a show in the next month, or this month, to be honest, like, just have it sitting there, like. I mean, it's not a show winner of anything by any means, but you know, funnily enough, the body I used on this one, the 65 Lincoln body, or what was left of it, there was literally nothing left of it, was probably the oldest kit surviving kit, and that was from the first Prestige issue kit I ever got. I think that was like in the late 80s, and then it just got broken to pieces. But I always kept that body aside, and you know, 30 years later we actually did something with it to breathe a bit of new life in. But yeah, I mean, like I say, the roof is a 63 Galaxy anyway, but yeah, I mean, I thought because we hadn't had time to do much else, and you know, that this kit is quite an important one to me, like, you know, all starting with my dad's original build. You know, it just really stuck in there, like, as one of my all-time favourite kits. Is that, like, like I say, we built a few since and what have you, and they aren't 100%, like, you know, but it's got to the point where I don't really want to do anything else with these now. You know, if I ever have a display case, I'll just display them as it is. They are, like, and you know, I'm quite happy with that, to be quite honest with you, sir. But yeah, I mean, I think we'll probably just sign the video off now, to be quite fair. I mean, thank you ever so much for sticking with us. You know, we have been really busy lately, so we've not had really much time to do much building or anything else, and I'm managing a video, maybe 2 a week at the moment. So all of you have come on board lately, you know, thanks ever so much for subscribing. It does really help us, gives us the enthusiasm to come back to the bench. You know, all the guys who have been with us for a long time now, you know, that means a great deal to me. You know, it keeps on, you know, it met some great friends on this channel, like, and you've all been really supportive of us, especially in times like this when we're all a bit busy. I mean, we've all got busy lives. You know, that's we could just do what we can do, and hopefully you're enjoying the videos. Like, you know, we'll probably do a few more of these in the meantime, you know, while we're still sort of dealing with other things in life, like. But you know, it just keeps the channel running, basically. So again, once again, thank you ever so much. And yeah, not too sure when the next video will be out, but whenever that is, you know, have a great time in the meantime, and we will just see you in the next video. Okay, see you, bye.